Hello there. Welcome to another weekend, another chance to just sit back and relax. How's your week been? Mine's been pretty busy, and it's nice to have a holiday weekend to just relax, right? Well, if this is your first time to join me, thanks for being here. Grab a mug, take a moment to sit back. We're going to have some coffee and talk about some great stories, great things that'll help inspire us to tell our stories and share them with everyone, right? If this is your first time to catch my live broadcast, welcome. It is great to have you here. My name is Renee Harden. By trade, I am an editor. I am a writing coach. I love to help people craft and shape their words and put them together in stories that they can share with other people, whether it's publishing a blog or sharing content, or perhaps you want to write your own book. So that's what I love to do. But on Saturday mornings, I stop in here and do a little segment that I like to call From the Editor's Desk, where I share some great stories and things that are going on in our world. We dish on some of the stories that are going on out in our world, and then we can talk about how we can take our story and share it with the world. How's your week been? Here we are in the middle of April. It's April 16th. Did everybody freak out yesterday about tax day? April 15th, right? But it was Good Friday. It was a holiday. Banks were closed. Post offices were closed. Kids were probably out of school, right? And you start getting that itch because we're so close to the end of the school year. We're so close to summer. We're so close, but we're not there yet. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today on this holy Saturday of Easter weekend. We're going to talk about the in-betweens. So today's mug of the day is very special. It's from a friend who sent it to me as I love to, as you know, I have so many coffee cups, my coffee cup collection, but it represents all of the places I've been, the people who I've met, who either gift me mugs or I get mugs as souvenirs whenever I travel. And so I have quite an extensive coffee mug, but behind each mug is a story. And behind me is my kitty, Milo, who loves to be a part of the story. Right, Milo? How you doing, buddy? So Milo's here. Oops, he's behind the microphone right now. Milo's here to share today's stories. So today's mug, you can see it right there on the screen. Here, I'll put it right there. It says, fully known, truly loved. Fully known and truly loved. It's from my friend, Tiffany. Tiffany is a homeschool mom. She's also a businesswoman. And so she sent me this mug. And so that is kind of her business name and something that she shares with others. Fully known and truly loved. Don't we all want to be fully known and truly loved, right? Is that right, Milo? Do you want to be fully known and truly loved? You are truly loved, especially because he's sitting right here in my lap during the live broadcast. But when I enjoy my coffee out of the mugs that I have, I think about those people. I think about the memories that we've shared, the good times that we've had. And it helps me pray for those people. When I think of them, I just send up a thought, and it can be something as simple as, Lord, I hope they're doing great today. I hope you bless them today. I hope that you give them a sense of how awesome they are and what a contribution they can be to our world. I really do that. And that's what's fun about having a coffee mug. There's a story behind each one. Well, I was talking about the in-between time. Have you ever been in the in-between time? Like I was saying earlier, we're so close. The kids, when they get a holiday weekend this close to the end of the year, it's almost teasing them. Like, Here's a taste of what it's going to be like, but you're not quite there yet. You still have a lot of grinding to do before you get to that end of the school year. Or maybe you've been working on a deadline. I've been working on some deadlines. Ooh, and when you have a holiday weekend thrown in, it just pushes those deadlines up just a little bit closer. So Thursday was my actual Friday, since Friday was a holiday. And even though I was pushing through and did some work, because of course, editors, because we don't clock in and clock out of a building and we work at home for ourselves, we have to put some clear boundaries so that people are not trying to push past that into our holiday weekend time or time with our families. But we also have deadlines to meet if you're wanting to hit some publishing dates. And I'm super excited because here in the next month or so, I have a couple of authors that are releasing their books that we've been working on. And I am so excited. I'm going to have them on the show, interview, that's right, to share their stories and encourage you maybe to share yours. But those in between times when you are so close, have you ever been there? The in between time? Or like maybe you're taking a trip and your kids ask you during the trip, are we there yet? Are we there yet? How much longer? Are we almost there? Do you remember doing that as a kid? Or maybe you had something this week where you were like, oh, 5 o'clock cannot get here any sooner, right? Have you had those? Yeah, it's good morning. Good morning, Savannah. How you doing? Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Always helpful. Always helpful when mom has a good day, right? But those in between times, whew, or for example, lately we've had some storm things come through. And now meteorologists are able to tell us, all right, at 10:18 or 10:22, the storm's going to hit you. And so that in between time of where the storm is coming and you don't know quite what's going to happen, but the storm is coming and you've got to prepare yourself for it, right? And then you hunker down and the storm blows through and then it's over, right? We've all, as a society, been waiting. We've been waiting a long time for a lot of different reasons right now. Things are so crazy. And in a time like this, when we want certainty and we want to feel secure, everything in our world goes nuts, right? I truly don't think we've been the same since 2016. And then let's just, let's throw a pandemic in on top of all of that to make sure that we're having enough stress. Let's throw a little bit more stress in. So we've been waiting truly for the pandemic to feel over. And so many people in places, especially here in Texas, where, we don't believe in masks and there's really not a virus. It was just a hoax that was created by someone to, I don't know. So we're still waiting for that feeling that, okay, we're finally out of this, maybe. Okay. That waiting time, that in between time. Well, that's what Holy Saturday is all about. Holy Saturday is the day after Good Friday. And did you ever think that, on Good Friday, good things didn't happen, right? Because Thursday, Jesus got together with his disciples. They had a meal. They kicked back, like they always got together, like we do here on Saturday mornings. And we're gonna have some coffee, or we're gonna have a meal, and then all of a sudden he says, "All right, now here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be arrested. They're gonna come get me." And instead of really thinking through things or listening to what Jesus was having to say, they were like, "Well, who's gonna get to sit next to you in heaven? Am I gonna sit next to you, Jesus? Because what about him? I don't think he should sit next to you." Meanwhile, Jesus is like, did you just hear a word that I said? Are you understanding what's going to happen? So instead of that, he did what any great leader would do. He got up and he served his people. He washed the feet of his disciples, and his disciples were kind of freaked out, like, "What are you doing? We've already eaten the meal. Aren't we supposed to do this before the meal?" But he washed their feet, and he gave them a commandment. I want you to love each other the way I've loved you. I want you to love each other the way I have loved you. Well, We know we're not seeing a lot of that right now in our society, are we? Just jump on any social media channel and the hatred and the vitriol and the bitterness and the ugliness is going to show. Fully known and truly loved. Do we fully know the people that we're chatting with on social media? I mean, I know some of you. I know some of you who come here and join the broadcast live. I know some of you personally. You've been in my life. We've attended church or a school, or you've been one of my students or one of my clients, and we know each other. But for the most part, we don't know everybody out there that's on social media, right? And yet we're commanded to truly love them. Love them in a sense that we give them space and we understand, but loving ourselves enough to know where to draw the line when it comes to engagement that is destructive or behavior that is destructive, right? But that in between place of here and there, that in between place of where I am and where you are, that in between place. That sometimes can be a strange place, especially when we're waiting for something like waiting for a email confirmation, waiting for a call from your doctor's office with the results, waiting to find out if your child or your son or daughter got into the college that they want, waiting to find out if your son or daughter is going to have a baby and you're going to be a grandparent, waiting for that mortgage to be approved, waiting for that deadline where you know the projects that you're working on are completed, the client's happy, or your teachers are happy, you've done your job, and you can go on vacation, right? That waiting period. Well, that's what Holy Saturday is all about. It's all about the waiting, the in between time. The time in between when Jesus was arrested on Good Friday, just as he said, I'm going to be arrested, they're going to come get me. So when they do, y'all don't freak out. And they freaked out anyway, so badly that Peter even lied about knowing him, right? So they arrested Jesus. They beat him. They tortured him. They did everything to him close to killing him, but didn't kill him because they ultimately crucified him. Now imagine if you're one of his disciples, you've been hanging out with him, he's, healing people and doing miracles and all this stuff, and you're like, yes, this is awesome. Now all he has to do is overthrow the Roman government and we'll be fine. See, that's not what he came for. He didn't come to deal with any human governments. He came to deal with the government that's right here. The thing that governs our lives and our words and our stories. He came to change that so that we would internally change, thus manifesting that change externally. So the in-between time, what was going on inside those disciples? What was happening inside them that was coming to the surface that he'd been telling them about for 3 years? 3 years. And yet I wonder how they felt. Well, I came across an interesting article by a Jesuit priest who wrote about this back in 2009. And I wanted to share this article with you because I really think it deals with and touches on that in-between time, that in-between space of where we are now and where we want to be, where we are now, where we see our lives headed, our businesses going, what our future holds. And right now that's so uncertain because there's so many uncertain things going on around us. But I want to read this to you, right? Because I thought this would be an interesting perspective to think about. So this is Reverend James Martin, who is a Jesuit priest. He's an author, and he is editor at large at a review called America, which is the Jesuit Review. He says, we spend most of our lives in Holy Saturday. For the most part, our daily lives are not moments of sheer abject terror like Good Friday, nor are they moments of delirious exaltation like Easter Sunday. Rather, we are often in the middle time, as the disciples were. They were disappointed, confused, worried, sad, anxious about all sorts of things. Have you ever been there? Have you felt that? Waiting, waiting, waiting. I don't know about you, but if I have to sit in a doctor's office or I have to sit somewhere where you're waiting for an appointment, you're waiting and your appointment goes by and you're waiting and 15 minutes go by and you're still waiting. He says, I've always wanted to know more about what the disciples were doing behind those closed doors on Holy Saturday. What were they talking about? Could they even contain their worry? Certainly, they were frightened of the Roman authorities, right? Just like our friends, our brothers and sisters who are over in Ukraine who are worried. When's the next bomb going to hit? Where am I going to go? How am I going to eat? Right? What's going to happen to us? He says, if they had killed our leader, they probably asked themselves, could we be far behind? I mean, wait a minute, Jesus, you were just healing people and raising someone from the dead. Now they've come and taken you away and they're going to crucify you. Are they coming for us? Even if Jesus of Nazareth, with all his powers and all his followers, could not escape the cross, was there hope for us? Perhaps they were arguing over the meaning of his death as well. How could things have gone so terribly wrong? We saw him do all the miracles. We saw him still the sea and raise that little girl and even Lazarus from the dead. How could he die like that? Like a common criminal? Perhaps they were even sniping among themselves. Well, you were the one that let him down. Well, you're the one that betrayed him. You ran away. Were there among the disciples, though, any who were searching for his meaning in his suffering? Were there any who read through the scriptures? And were there any who expected what would happen the next morning? Did they even know that they were in a waiting period? Most of our lives are spent waiting and hoping, but we are in a different position than those terrified disciples on Holy Saturday. We, in the midst of our waiting, know the end of the story. We know that our Redeemer lives. We know to expect resurrections great and small in our lives. And we know that our waiting will never be in vain. How are you holding up during the waiting? Do you have a sense of understanding and knowing and standing on a solid ground that tells you that no matter what goes on in this world and in this life, we're going to be okay? If we truly believe what we say we believe, we will not let the fears and uncertainty of this world wrap around us so tightly that it chokes the life out of us. It's what the Bible means when it says, you take those thoughts captive and you make them bow. You take those things captive, you make them bow, because we know what the story is tomorrow, right? It's Easter Sunday. We're going to get up. Some of you may dress up and you're going to go to church and you're going to have all kinds of Easter things that we celebrate. But today is about being in the waiting, being in the in-between space, knowing where we've come from, what's happened, what's promised, what has been spoken over our lives, what we continue to speak ourselves into our lives, knowing that joy comes in the morning. Super important because it gives you a different perspective on the waiting. You don't tend to dread it so much. You know, a lot of times when I'm having to wait in doctor's offices, I know ultimately I'm going to see the doctor. And I know that if the doctor's seeing me and there's a room full of patients, chances are there have been patients ahead of me, especially if my appointment's at like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. The poor doctor, have they even taken a chance to go get some lunch? seeing person after person after person. And sometimes when they get in with that person, while they try to plan for appointment times, sometimes they go a little longer. Do they need extra tests run? Do you need to sit and talk with the patient a little while because they need to sit and ask the doctor a few more questions? I know with me, I was amazed at my oncologist when I was going through my cancer treatment of how efficient they were she was with her time, but how dedicated she was in that time because she was fully present. I knew she cared about me. And so even though we may have had a short period of time to meet, it was worth the waiting because I knew I was going to get the answers that I needed to assure me that I was going to beat cancer. And here I am, right? Having a pretty good hair day. Y'all, my hair's getting long. Look at it. It's growing back out. It has a different texture. You know, I had to wait for my hair to grow back, and that was not easy. And for those of you that have been around on the broadcast long enough, where you have followed me on social media and you followed my journey and you watched me go from bald or watched me go from, floof hair to no hair to slowly, waiting. Let me tell you, talk about the waiting for your hair to grow back, waiting for your hair to grow back enough where I had enough, where I looked like G.I. Jane. And now look, I have all of this, right? The waiting. Was it hard to wait for my hair to grow back? Absolutely. Was it hard to trust that the chemo drugs that I was doing were going to save my life? Absolutely, especially on the days where I felt like hammered doo-doo. Okay? I'm talking, I passed out a couple of times from how weak I got. But I knew that in the midst of that waiting on the other side of that my doctor kept reassuring me. She kept speaking it to me the entire time. I remember her so lovingly telling me, "You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. We know how to beat this. You're going to be okay." And her telling me those words helped me in the waiting. Are you in the middle of waiting for something? I want to speak life into you today in the waiting. Tomorrow is Easter Sunday. Joy comes in the morning. There is going to be another day. And on the other side of that, God's going to meet you there with all his promises to let you know that you are fully known and truly loved. But it's kind of hard to do that when you got a lot of clutter going on in here, right? And we've been talking about spring cleaning. Lord, y'all, I've been cleaning up my office. I got books. Look, I got books over here. I got books over there. I got books on the shelves. Y'all, I have 2 places over here, books stacked up against the wall. I got to get rid of some of these. I got a lot of books. So what I've been doing this month, in the month of April, is giving away books, giving away stuff. I'm cleaning and purging my office because over time in reading books or accessing books or even working on books with authors, working on manuscripts, good grief, digitally, I have so much stuff, right? Do you do the same thing? And so purging and cleaning, right? We do this in springtime because it feels good. Open windows, get everything just, a fresh start to things. So maybe we need to look at doing some spiritual clutter removal, right? We need to clear some of that clutter that's going on in here and make space. Make space for peace. Make space for God to sit with you. Have some coffee. Lately I have been enjoying driving in the car with absolutely nothing on. Before it was always, listening to a podcast, or I'm listening to a book, or I'm listening to music, or I'm listening to something. I've had moments where I actually enjoy getting in the car and just driving and being fully present and taking in the sights and the sounds and everything around me and not getting caught up on what's going on social media or, stopping at a red light and making a post or, having to answer an email. Good grief, that just clogs up everything where we can't think fully. We can't respond appropriately to things, right? Have you ever done that? So it's a spiritual detox, clearing out all of those things. And this is the hardest one to do because, when I'm actually cleaning and moving things, I can take this pile over here and I can put it over here, or I can take some of these piles and put them in a box and get them out of here. I've got a shredder over there. I've got a trash can over here, right? And I can go through and really just sort and purge, y'all. I'm looking at the floor of my office and it's frightening because I've been working nonstop for the last, probably 8 to 10 weeks, just nonstop. So I haven't had time to deal with all this crap. I've just kind of put it over there and put this one over here. My piles are all organized, but there's piles. My piles in here are organized, but there's still piles. And it's hard to make those kinds of changes in here when there's so much crap going on around us that we can barely juggle that. And now we're asked to deal with this. Oh, I just want to curl up. But we can't live like that because that's not what we're supposed to be doing while we're here, right? So the real problem is not that clutter stagnates your energy and making you feel stuck all the time. Sometimes it makes you feel ashamed. You're ashamed of all your piles. Y'all, I'm glad that the camera only lets you see this space right here. Because if you were to see the space over here or even over here, it might encourage you and make you feel like, oh, okay, I don't feel so bad. Renee's office looks kind of crappy. But making the time to deal with these things. It's getting to the point where when I have piles here and piles here and piles here, I say, okay, how many more piles before I'm going to be covered in piles of stuff, right? And I can't. I've got to make time to do it. Sometimes this kind of clutter makes us procrastinate. It'll cause us to be cranky and act horribly to other people, right? Our loved ones, our spouses, our partners, our kids, our clients, our children, our students, our coworkers, right? Do you ever have those days? Come on. We know, and it's hard for us. It's not that it can cause you to run up debt, acquiring a home full of things that you don't need. We can do that. We can buy all the courses. We can sign up for all the challenges. We can overload us with obligations to friends and going to all the events and doing all the things and depleting ourselves of any sense of resource for us to have, to stand with, to deal with, right? It can weigh you down, make you feel tired. It can even make the things and the goals that you're trying to accomplish and achieve, the work that you're doing, the deadlines that you have, it even makes those harder because, and come on, I know you all out there. I've seen some of you where you are going at it and you are putting out content and you are producing great things, or you're selling courses to your clients, or you're dealing with, you are out there going and going. And I know you can do it. I've seen you do it before. What has happened in the in-between from here to there that has kind of clogged up things? Well, depending on who we are and how we are as a person will determine the degree of which those things will either control us or we will rid ourselves of them. But those kinds of things have a more deeper effect on us because it affects our spiritual being. So here's something I found interesting when I was doing some research on this. And yes, there's a definition for spiritual clutter. Spiritual clutter is whatever gets in the way of a person following their spiritual path and doing what they are here on earth to do. Do you know what you're here on earth to do? I know what I'm here on earth to do. I'm here to love all the people that come in touch with me. I have 2 children. I have extensive family. As weird and wacky as they all are, I love them, right? I love them. I know what I'm here to do. I'm here to help people tell their stories. I'm here to help people tell their best stories. I'm here to encourage other people. Through my own experiences, the things I've walked through in this life, I take those experiences and I use those to help others. That's what I'm here to do. In a book called Clear Your Clutter with Feng Shui, says the higher purpose of clutter clearing is to help clear the debris that prevents us from connecting to higher spiritual realms from whence we came and to which we will return. It is all too easy to lose the plot down here. I love that wording, right? What's the plot? What's the story plot? Get immersed in materialism and come to believe that this world is all there is, when in fact, we're only here a short interlude in the spiritual journey that each of us are on. Clutter clearing in all its forms helps to restore clarity and simplicity. When you keep around just the things you need for your personal journey, instead of burdening yourself with things that obscure your way or hold you back, it makes it much easier for you to connect with your spiritual path. And when you have a sense of peace and purpose that comes with that, you will never feel the need for clutter again. A sense of peace and purpose. Fully known, truly loved. And when you know that, you can go about your day. You can go about the way that you interact with people in this crazy, messed up, fractured world we're in right now, right? And it'll change your perspective and focus you so that that love, that peace that the world so badly needs just flows out of you like a river, right? You put a smile on every person that you meet. When they see you, they are so glad to see you. In fact, they're so glad to see you. They can't wait. They approach you like this and get a hug. People hug me all the time. It's not like I'm standing over here going, hey, give me a hug. People, for some reason, when they see me, unless I'm meeting someone for the first time, but most people I meet and most of the people I go to lunch with or do things with, when they see me, they hug me. I don't know why. Do I look like a huggable teddy bear or something? I'm a small person. Is it I'm childlike? I don't know. But they want to hug me. And that's great because when I hug someone, ooh, I like to hug them deep and take the time to hug them so that I can transfer my peace into them. I know that sounds weird, but I like to try to do that. Transferring my peace into you. Give you a sense of purpose and encourage you and inspire you so that you can continue on the path that you're supposed to be on. Physical clutter clearing can be fairly easy and straightforward for some people and completely overwhelming for others because of limiting beliefs or sentimental attachments that need to be addressed in order to let things go. Some forms of clutter are purely mental and emotional, such as worrying and gossiping, holding on to grievances, and other forms of emotional baggage. These are more difficult to resolve and can take many years of personal development, translation, therapy to unravel. First of all, you would have to acknowledge that that's the work you need to do and take the steps to do it and be about your business so that you can get those things taken care of and resolved. But spiritual clutter is on a completely different level because it is only apparent when there are serious inroads that need to be made into clearing physical, mental, and emotional clutter first. That's why I'm telling you guys, clearing your offices, getting order in your house. I mean, come on, we've all done it, right? Tell me, you've cleaned up a room. You've cleaned the kitchen. You've reorganized a cabinet, right? Or a closet. And just when you get it all done and you step away, that sense of when you walk in that room and you're just like, and for me, the last 2 months has been plowing into my office, sitting at my desk, getting whatever manuscripts I'm working on, dealing with client emails, trying to get all those things done. And in the middle of that, I'm trying to get tax stuff done. We've had a plumbing issue in our house. We've had our nephew and his wife had their second baby. I had a friend who was going through doctor visits and tests because she wasn't sure whether she was going to be diagnosed with breast cancer. I had another friend contact me to say her mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. So all I've done is plow into this office, come in here like a whirlwind, work, and walk out of my office. So the remnants of it are here. And I have to deal with that first. So I have to deal with the physical and the mental and emotional stuff first before I can even get to this. And that's why it's so important that we spring clean. That's why it's important we get our physical space in order. Take some time. I don't care what you have to do. Clear off some time on your schedule. You've got the same amount of hours I do every week. And a lot of times when you block off dedicated time, it's amazing how much you can get done in an hour without any distractions. Truly. Have you ever done it? Come on, it's happened, right? So, in the busyness of modern life, finding one's spiritual path is seldom given the importance that it deserves. Many people are born, live, and die without ever discovering what they're here to do or how to connect to the spiritual forces that can help them achieve that. It's the single most important thing in life. And a lot of people, they don't even, first of all, they don't acknowledge it. They don't care about it. They say they don't need it. And yet, when those big moments in life happen, those big speed bumps, guys, come on, you know what they are. You probably hit a few this week, right? When those happen, bam. How we respond in those moments is evident of where we are with clutter, both mental, emotional, possibly physical. And so that's all going to manifest, right? No matter how much money a person makes or how many possessions they acquire, their life may ultimately have no meaning if they never discover what the purpose of it was. Let me read that again. No matter how much money a person makes or how many possessions they acquire, their life may ultimately have no meaning if they never discover what the purpose of it was. Have you ever seen that show, Hoarders? Have you ever sat and actually gotten through an episode of Hoarders? And we cringe when we watch it. And yet, a lot of times, those people, when you see them, they have so much mental and emotional baggage that they haven't dealt with, that the physical baggage starts showing. And each time when we get to, where they're taking the things away and their stuff, that what the people that are working with them discover that they truly have an issue here that needs to be dealt with, right? Every episode, they're always having to confront things, and when they do, some of them get super pissed off or they just completely break down, right? That's the result of allowing too much clutter to overwhelm your life. Now, that's just a physical one example made into a show about how much clutter can cripple and paralyze a person, but how sad it is to live a life and never discover what the purpose of your life was. A spiritual path does not have to be a religious one. It's the best. It's ultimately one that gives you a true solid foundation to stand on, but your spiritual journey may be different from somebody else's. It involves understanding that first and foremost, you are a spiritual being having a human experience, not a human being having a spiritual experience. Does that make sense? You are a spiritual being inside this pod, if you will, okay? Having a human experience. When you opened your eyes for the first time and looked around you and came on and started experimenting with things and doing things, you are a spiritual being who is awakened in a human body, having a human experience. The essence of a spiritual path is being connected to God and navigating through life from that perspective. Having that, you may call it a higher power, you may call it a higher self, whatever. It is connected to that spiritual source from which we came, and then navigating through life with that perspective. So if you have that lens on, you know who you are and why you're here. Most people hardly glimpse their higher self or experience what it feels like to be spiritually connected because the veil of their mind and emotions is too dense. They live immersed in an endless chitter chatter of thoughts and accompanying emotional reactions all the days of their life, not knowing that any other state of being is even possible. That theory was kind of experimented with in the movie The Matrix, right? Where they were just physical beings plugged into a simulation of what their life was, but they really had no purpose other than to be human batteries, right, for the machines. Is that who we are? Right. And remember where Morpheus tells them, once you take this pill and I unlock you and you understand what's really going on, you're going to have to face and deal with some things to free yourself from this. New Age teachings suggest that anyone can easily contact their higher self at any time, but this simply isn't true. It can happen in rare flashes, but to be able to connect to your spiritual creator at will requires years of developing subtle body structures and working through processes to be able to see beyond the reactions of your human body and all of the things that we've been told and taught, right? So, the in between. Spiritual clutter is about consciously navigating the big decisions in life that can affect your future. It's about making wise choices from that source of higher power, from that direction that God is leading us in. We don't see it as that, but I tell you, the longer I live, my life is nothing but a reflection of who He is and what He's done in my life, right? I mean, I have faced cancer 3 times, twice as a caregiver, once as a patient. Do I have a secret manual on how to get through it or what to do when you face it? No, no. But I have one who guides me and directs my steps and orders my steps in such that he put me in touch with a great uh, oncologist and helped me find a wonderful breast surgeon and helped me find a wonderful radiation technologist and oncologist to help me navigate all of that, following his direction. But where do you get direction from? Are you just randomly grasping at straws? Or do you truly know where your source is? So conscious navigation involves questioning where you live, who you're in relationships with, what you spend your time doing, what you believe, and every aspect of how you live your life. This is what Jesus meant when he said, I have come to set you free. Not from the Roman authorities. You notice Jesus was not concerned with whatever the politics were of his day. That was not what he was concerned with. What he was concerned with was changing the lives of people because he knew if I really change their lives and they truly get this, it's going to take off like wildfire. They're going to know. And people are going to see. So much so that people will give their lives for this. So, how do you spiritually declutter? How do you spiritually declutter? Well, first of all, I think you truly have to be present and be aware of who you are and where you are so that you can deal with those things first. You have to restore integrity in your life. You have to really get serious about this. It's too easy to live a spiritually disconnected life because there is so much of an emphasis on materialism, upon social media, upon all of those things. That's the main focus instead of what's really going on. The pandemic has given many people a time to think, a pause to think. We had to sit our butts down in our house with our family members and go nowhere and kind of really answer the questions, who are we? What are we doing? Right? I don't know about you. It did that for me. It turned priorities upside down. The small stuff that we used to think was important wasn't so important anymore, was it? What's really important has come to the fore as we start rebuilding and coming out of this pandemic. Spiritual clutter clearing is the most rewarding type because it restores the highest level of integrity to your life. The satisfaction that you can experience after doing physical decluttering is just a drop in the ocean compared to the levels of joy and peace that you will experience when you spiritually declutter and get that stuff out of your lives so that you could live openly and authentically and share your story with the world. That's what it's all about. You tune in to see my stories every week, or you scroll through people on social media and you see their stories. What do your stories look like? Are you even sharing stories? Do you even know what you're doing in this world? Do you have a clue at all? If you don't, you need to find those things. And as always, I try to share some great books with you to help you find those things. So I'm giving away some books. Like I said, I'm giving away some books. So how do you win books? Well, first of all, you're here. You're watching the broadcast. You comment in the broadcast. You let me know you're here. You say, hey, Renee, good morning. What's going on? I love that. You just did that a few weeks ago. It's cathartic. It truly is. You're going to be okay. We know how to beat this. Such beautiful words. Yes, Emily. And when I was facing, imagine I'm sitting in there where this doctor just told me, yes, you have cancer. We know where the cells are. We measured them. But I'm telling you, this little lady who was littler than me came in and she looked at me with such an assurance that when she delivered those words, and when I think about it now, she saved my life right there before treatment, before anything happened. She saved my life when she looked me in the eye and she said, you're going to be okay. We know how to beat this. She had so many different protocols. She even told me, now, if your tests come back and it's this, well, then we're going to do this. And she wrote it all out. She said, now, if it's not that and it's this, well, then we're going to do, she has been doing this for 34 years. She's seen it. She's practiced it. She's tried all the different things. She's experimented with protocols and things that worked. But she saved my life that day because she spoke those words of faith over me and had me hang on to that. So that when I had to walk in that infusion room every week and I had to hook myself up to that machine that pumped medicine into my body, sometimes that made me so sick I could barely get through the day, I knew and heard her voice. You're going to be okay. We know how to beat this. And it helped me train my mind so that when I was going through the hard times, I would tell my body, you could do this. This medicine is fighting for you. It's going right after those cancer cells and killing them. And you're going to be okay. This sucks. I know you're hurting. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Just go to sleep and rest and let your body heal itself. I don't know about you guys, but to me, that spoke life to me. And maybe you need life spoken into your world right now. Maybe there's some things that you're worried about or dealing with, or that you're in the in-between time and you're waiting. But guys, come on, tomorrow is Easter Sunday. We know the end of this story, right? When you get a new book, you don't know the end of the story, right? We're reading this book for my book club. We're reading The Windsor Knot. It's a really cool murder mystery sort of thing where the queen is actually also solving the crime. And she's been doing this the entire time she's on the throne. It's just nobody knew. What a fun story plot. So it's a murder mystery. But we know by the end of the book, we're going to have an answer. I'm just not there yet. Right? But I know the end of, the end of a story. We're either going to solve the mystery or we're not going to solve the mystery, right? Those are my two options. But we know the end of this story, guys. We know the end of the story of life. We know. He's given us a new ending. He's given us a completely different ending than what originally was planned for us. So even though we may go through plot twists and character confrontation and all kinds of crap in this world, we know how the story ends. We know that our Redeemer lives. We're just in the waiting today. We're just in the waiting. So what do we do? Well, here's some books that I have enjoyed that have helped me understand and appreciate some spiritual concepts. One was written by an author who unfortunately passed away, but left behind such a catalog of work doing the deep spiritual work. Her name is Rachel Held Evans, and this was the last book that she was working on at the time she died. I think she was only like 34. It was really sad. And so this book was put together, and it's called Wholehearted Faith. Um, she says, I've come to believe that wholehearted faith isn't just about coming to terms with the heart that beats inside me. Wholeheartedness is about seeing and comprehending my place in a bigger family of faith. It is about risking hurt and confusion for the sake of the thing that so many of us seek, belonging. So I'm giving away a copy, guys. Today, if you want a copy, all of you who have commented in the thread here, you're going to be automatically entered in this week's drawing so that you can get a copy. So you're going to get a copy of this book, Wholehearted Faith by Rachel Held Evans. It's beautifully written. She is an author who, since reading her books, when I first discovered Searching for Sundays and followed her work, she lived in a small town in Tennessee. And so that was a great thing for me because I was living in Tennessee at the time. She was such a force. And to have lost her so early was a tragedy. And yet the work she's left behind is still touching the hearts of so many people and opening them up and clearing out a lot of spiritual clutter. So you're going to get a copy of this, and you're also going to get a copy of the book, One Woman Can Change the World by my friend Ronnie Rock. This is an amazing book because what Ronnie does is she takes you around the world to discover the divine design that you have as a woman and how you can influence and impact those that are around you. Some of you may be working in schools. Some of you may be working in the corporate world. Some of you may be working at home with your own children and you get together with friends who have children. Maybe you are you're single and you have a group of friends that you're impacted, whatever your sphere of influence is. Okay. So this book is great because you're going to travel to the countries of Africa, to Asia, to the Americas, to the Caribbean islands, and you are going to see women who are leading in ways that you didn't think would actually be characterized as leading. And she shows us how these women are leading with such grace in places in the world where you would think, oh my gosh, how is that even possible? Right? Politically, with what's going on in their countries. But they can. One woman can change the world. So she says here, as you discover the lives of real women who are influencing their communities with grace and gumption, even in countries where oppression weighs most heavily, you will feel inspired to reclaim your God-designed influence and impact right where you are. Ronnie is a dear friend. We have worked together. We worked together for a while on this book. We've worked together doing other things. She works for the organization that I've shared with you called Orphan Outreach, where they are really helping places around the world dealing with orphan care, dealing with children who are special needs. They have programs in both Russia and Ukraine. So you can imagine the intensity of what's been going on. In fact, Ronnie was in St. Petersburg, Russia, literally 5 or 6 days before the war broke out. Truly scary. So she has written a book called One Woman Can Change the World. So if you've been watching during this broadcast, you've been commenting, also, tag a friend in the comments. Let them know, hey, watch this broadcast and comment. Because if you feel like they need maybe some encouragement or, helping them get some clarity right now, spiritual clutter, man, we got to clear it out. So if they join the broadcast and comment, they'll be entered to win the free books. So I'm going to do a drawing. You will get these copies mailed to you. Yep, that's right. You'll get these copies mailed to you because I got to get rid of some of these books, guys. Got too many of them. Too many of them. And as I mentioned before, book club. If you want to join my book club, you can do that. We are reading this book. And at the end of the month, on the very last day of the month, when I do my broadcast, I'm going to be giving away a copy of this. So you can join me then. Okay. But also next weekend, I'm doing this in all Saturdays in the month of April. I am clearing things out. So I would love to give you some more free books. Okay. So all you have to do, like I said, Comment here in the broadcast. Let me know you watch. Say hi. Tell me where you're joining from. Let me know if this blessed you or not. Let me know how I can support you. As something fun that I want to share with you that I'm going to be sharing on my socials, I want you to think about, the commandments that Jesus left us with. He said, I want you to love one another the way I have loved you, right? That fulfilled the 10 commandments. And Michael and I were talking because, last week we watched the movie, The 10 Commandments. And I don't know about you, but that's like one of my favorites of all time was the 10 Commandments, right? When you see, thou shalt not, and the finger of God, creates the tablets and he gives them to Moses. These are my commandments for my people. Well, Michael and I were talking about that, the 10 Commandments. Do you actually know the 10 Commandments? Do you remember them in order? Most of us who went to Sunday school, who went to catechism, you know them. It's been a while. I tried to do it the other day. I think I missed some. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not covet. Shalt not bear false witness. Honor thy father, thy mother. That's 4 out of 10. I need to go back and do some research. I can't remember the 10 Commandments. Do we even know the 10 Commandments? That might be a place where we start our spiritual clutter. But we were talking about how fun would it be if we came up with commandments 11 through 20, right? Things like, something as simple like this is what one that Michael mentioned, every day pick up 1 or 2 pieces of trash. If you do that every day, imagine how much trash would be picked up. We wouldn't have trash everywhere. What are some commandments you can give yourself? Like every time I go into the grocery store, I will not blank, right? So here's a little something that I'm going to share on social media, just as a gift to you, because I think it would be a fun way to show. But I'm gonna share. Oh, why isn't this sharing on my screen? Oh, darn it! Really, my computer must have. Darn, it did. It's telling me on the screen, must share permission. My system updated overnight and didn't give screen sharing permission. So I can't show it to you, but I am going to share with you. You'll see it. I'm going to put it down here in the comments below this thread, but it is going to be just a little blank template for you to fill out your own commandments 11 through 20. Like if you could give yourself, that'll be one way of doing some spiritual clutter, is give yourself commandments 11 through 20. Get a copy of the 10 commandments and put them there. And then write some commandments for yourself. Things that you can do to help clear things up for you so that you can open yourself up to what God has for you. Oh, my friends. He knows the plans he has for us. Plans to prosper us and not to harm us. Plans to give us a hope and a future. He wants to give us a hope and a purpose for our future. Don't you want that? Ooh, I know I do. The in-between time. Well, guys, listen, it's been wonderful to spend this time with you. Thank you so much to all those who have commented here live in the broadcast. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. And for those who have come back and are watching this via replay, I appreciate you too. I hope that you've been encouraged, and I hope that you will be inspired to clear out some of your spiritual clutter. I want you to live freely and openly and receive all that God has for you, because I know what's inside of you can bless someone else. And if it's in the shape of a story, we need to talk. Yes, we do. So if you want to talk about sharing your story, or you want to join the book club and you want to find out how you can do that, please go to my website right here, ronaeharden.com/contact. Let me know. Do you want to join the book club? Do you want to ask me some questions about writing a story, or what the steps would even be to formulate a story? Do I have to publish a book? How can I get started creating a blog? How do I even get started writing down my thoughts, right? I see you do it on social media all the time. You can actually do it. So let me show you how you can do that so you can share what you have, your purpose, your dreams, your goals, and what God has done for you, and share it with others. So I'm going to share with you what's going on in my life because today is also a very special day because I am double sportsing, y'all. I'm double sportsing. Do you see my shirt that I have on? Can you see it? It's my Mavs shirt. I'm double sportsing today. I'm going to both a basketball game and a hockey game. Oh, y'all, there's too much sportsing to be done today. And I'm going to be celebrating and having joy. And I hope that I can share that with everyone I come in contact with because I've already shared it with you. So do the same. Get out there and have a fantastic holiday weekend with your family, with your friends, with whoever you come in contact with. Smile. They might even ask you for a hug. But don't hug them too closely or too long. They may think that's a little weird. All right, guys, thanks so much. Have a blessed, happy, holy Saturday. I'll see you back here next week. We can talk about our 11 to 20 commandments. And I'm going to be sharing more books, more free books. We love books. And I love spending Saturday mornings with you.